The Toymaker's secret. In the heart of the quaint village of Amberleigh, nestled between rolling hills and serene lakes, there stood a little shop that captured the imagination of every child and adult who passed by. The shop, known as Whimsy's Wonders, was a haven of delight, filled with the most exquisite handmade toys. It was owned by a master toymaker named Mr. Oliver Whimsy, a man whose talent for creating enchanting toys was renowned far and wide. Mr. Whimsy was a kind and gentle man, with silver hair that framed his wrinkled but lively face. His eyes sparkled with a perpetual twinkle, reflecting the joy he found in his craft. He had inherited the shop from his father, who had inherited it from his own father, and so on, for generations. Each toy in Whimsy's Wonders was a work of art, crafted with love and precision, from delicate porcelain dolls to intricately carved wooden trains. One chilly autumn morning, as the first frost glittered on the cobblestones, a young girl named Eliza entered the shop. Eliza had heard tales of Mr. Whimsy's magical toys and had saved her pennies to buy a special gift for her little brother, Jack, who was recovering from a long illness. As she stepped inside, a bell tinkled cheerfully, and the warmth of the shop embraced her. Mr. Whimsy looked up from his workbench and greeted Eliza with a warm smile. "Good morning, my dear. How can I help you today?" Eliza's eyes widened as she took in the shelves lined with toys of every kind. "I'm looking for something special for my brother," she said shyly. "He's been very sick, and I want to cheer him up." Mr. Whimsy's heart softened. "Ah, a noble mission indeed. Let me show you something truly unique." He led Eliza to a corner of the shop where a beautiful wooden carousel stood. The carousel was intricately painted with scenes of a fantastical forest, and tiny wooden animals adorned its base. "This is the Whispering Carousel," Mr. Whimsy explained. "It's one of my most cherished creations. When you wind it up and listen closely, you can hear it tell a story." Eliza's eyes sparkled with wonder. "It's perfect. How much does it cost?" Mr. Whimsy shook his head. "For such a noble cause, it is a gift. Your brother's smile will be payment enough." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Eliza hugged the old toymaker. "Thank you, Mr. Whimsy. Jack will love it." That evening, Eliza brought the Whispering Carousel home and placed it by Jack's bedside. As she wound it up, the soft melody filled the room, and the tiny animals began to dance. Jack's eyes widened with delight, and for the first time in weeks, a smile spread across his face. He listened intently as the carousel whispered a magical tale of adventure and bravery. Days turned into weeks, and Jack's health improved steadily. The Whispering Carousel became his constant companion, its stories filling his dreams with hope and wonder. Eliza often wondered about the magic behind the carousel and the man who had created it. One day, as Jack was well enough to visit the shop himself, Eliza took him to meet Mr. Whimsy. The toymaker welcomed them warmly and listened with delight as Jack recounted his favorite stories from the carousel. As they talked, Eliza noticed a door at the back of the shop, partially hidden by a curtain. "What's behind that door, Mr. Whimsy?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. Mr. Whimsy's smile grew wider. "Ah, that is my workshop, where the magic happens. Would you like to see it?" Eliza and Jack nodded eagerly, and Mr. Whimsy led them through the door. The workshop was a wonderland of tools and materials, with half-finished toys scattered about and sketches pinned to the walls. The air was filled with the scent of wood shavings and fresh paint. "Every toy here has a story," Mr. Whimsy said. "And it's my job to bring those stories to life." As he spoke, he picked up a small wooden soldier and handed it to Jack. "This little fellow is part of a battalion that protects a kingdom from dragons," he said with a wink. Jack's eyes shone with excitement. "Really? Can I hear their story?" Mr. Whimsy nodded and led them to a cozy corner where he kept a collection of old, leather-bound books. He pulled out a volume and began to read aloud, his voice weaving a tale of courage and camaraderie. Eliza watched in awe as Jack listened, his face alight with wonder. She realized that the true magic of Mr. Whimsy's toys was not just in their craftsmanship but in the stories they told and the joy they brought to those who played with them. As the years passed, Whimsy's Wonders continued to be a beloved part of Amberleigh. Children grew up with Mr. Whimsy's toys, each one carrying a piece of the toymaker's heart and the magic of his stories. Eliza and Jack visited often, sharing their own adventures and dreams with the kind old man who had given them so much. One winter's eve, when the first snowflakes danced in the air, the villagers of Amberleigh gathered in the square to honor Mr. Whimsy. They celebrated his lifelong dedication to bringing joy and wonder to their lives. Mr. Whimsy, now frail but still filled with the same twinkle in his eye, looked out at the faces of those he had touched. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "for letting me share my stories and my heart with you all these years. Remember, the magic of a toy lies not in its materials but in the love and imagination it inspires." And so, the legend of Mr. Whimsy, the master toymaker of Amberleigh, lived on. His toys became cherished heirlooms, passed down through generations, each one carrying a story that continued to inspire and enchant. The spirit of Whimsy's wonders remained a beacon of joy, a reminder that the true magic of a toy is found in the hearts of those who believe in its tale.